Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. For those who maybe don't know much about Bhagavad-gītā, I will tell a few words about it. Bhagavad-gītā was spoken between the Lord, whose name is Krishna, which means all attractive one, who attracts every living entity, if this living entity knows or not, is attracted to the all attractive one, absolutely attractive one. Everything that attracts us in this world, even if it is opposite sex or beauty of this nature or wealth or fame or glory or strength or anything, is actually just a fraction of the attractive power of the Absolute. So on the one side was Absolute attractive one, and on the other side was his friend Arjuna, and they were speaking on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just before Great War began. And they spoke about many things, because Arjuna, he represents ordinary living entity, and when he saw that the friends and relatives on both sides of this battlefield in two vast armies, he decided not to fight. And he said that it's not proper to fight, to shed blood of your friends and relatives, to attain kingdom on earth. But Krishna, the all-attractive absolute personality, he said that he doesn't know what is the value of life. And then he speaks Bhagavad-gītā. It means the Lord's song. And he first explains that we are not this body, that the body will definitely die and the soul is always existing, that there was never a time that soul wouldn't exist, and that will never be time that soul will not exist. And he gives very graphic example how the soul is passing through childhood and then youth and old age, and the soul remains the same, but the body is always changing, which is confirmed by modern scientists. And they say that every 7 years we completely change all the cells of our body. And then he explains different philosophy, but we don't have time to go through all of this. If anyone wants to hear, we discussed this in our seminar, and it is available on the YouTube channel Krishna Consciousness Revolution. Yes, YouTube channel Consciousness Revolution. So, yes, now we will discuss 18th chapter, the last chapter of Bhagavad-gītā. And the 17th chapter concluded that every work should be performed, all our sacrifices, all our austerities and all our charity should be performed for the pleasure of the Supreme, if we want to be transcendental, if we want to go beyond this world of suffering. And therefore Arjuna was asking at the beginning of 18th chapter, if you have to make an offering of everything to the Lord, this is of course tyaga, or giving up something for the pleasure of the Supreme. What is the difference? Because at the beginning of Bhagavad-gītā, Arjuna wanted to take sannyas. And then Krishna wasn't in favor that he would take sannyas. That means he would enter the renounced order. And but throughout Bhagavad-gītā, he was teaching Arjuna that he should give up the fruits of his work. So whatever you do, you have the right to perform action, but you don't have the right to enjoy what you create. Yes. So then Arjuna was perplexed. What is the difference between giving up and taking sannyas? And then Krishna explains, first he gives definition, the third definition of sannyasa in Bhagavad-gītā. And he says, Kamyanam karmanam nyasam sannyasam kaviyo vidu. That those who know, they say that sannyasa is kamyanam, that we give up work with material desires. Kamyanam karmanam nyasam. Kama means desire for bodily pleasure. Kamyanam karmanam nyasam. And karma means work. Kamyanam karmanam nyasam means that we give up work based on material desire to enjoy. Yes, because as explained before by Krishna, if we strive to enjoy this material world, we'll just suffer. Everyone wants to be happy, perfectly happy. We are pleasure-seeking living entities. But if we try to enjoy this world, we'll just suffer. Because we want to be eternally happy. We don't want to be temporarily happy. But everything in this world is temporary. So more we become attached to some sort of enjoyment, more we suffer when we lose it. So if we engage in material sense enjoyment, we'll definitely suffer. So Krishna is teaching, don't strive to enjoy on material plane. Rise above material platform, on the transcendental platform, where you can enjoy eternally. Yes. And tyaga is tyaktva karma palasangam, that you just give up what you perform, whatever you do, just give up this result of your action. Yes, this is tyaga. And then he further explains that actually sannyasa and tyaga are the same. As he already explained, that anasaktasya vishan yatarham upay. No, this is another verse. Anashritah karma palankaryan karma karoti sasannyasi cha yogi cha naranya ragniran chakriya. In the beginning of 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, he explains that actually sannyasi is one who performs his action, but he's not attached to the result of his action. So actually sannyasa and tyaga are ultimately the same. And then he explains that some people say that we should give up sacrifice, yaga-tapa, and dana and everything, these pious activities that should be given up. But he's telling that he doesn't agree with that. Yaga dana tapa karma, nyatyajam karamam evatat. We should always perform this, because it purifies. Even great souls are getting purified by performing austerities and sacrifices and charity. Yes, therefore we shouldn't give them up. And then he explains if one performs his actions according to Shastra, according to scriptural injunction, then he's acting on the platform of mode of goodness. Here actually he summarizes first 6 chapters of Bhagavad-gītā, which explain karma yoga. And he explains that those who are afraid of inconveniences in performing their duties and therefore give up their duties just because they are afraid of some painful procedure or inconveniences, this is giving up in the mode of passion and will never bring any good result. And if we just don't want to do something, this is a mode of ignorance. Yes. And then he explains that then there are mixed results. Of course, we explained that these modes are not never pure in this world, are always mixture of this goodness, passion, and ignorance. Unlimited different mixtures. Everyone has particular body, and that means he has a particular mixture of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Yes, there are no two mixtures the same in this world. So there are no two bodies the same, like no two fingerprints the same. Everyone has his own mixture of these modes of material nature. And so also these different kinds of enjoyment, different kinds of happiness, and different kinds of suffering will come in our life. But then he explains Jnana Yoga part from 13th to 17th chapter. He summarizes, and he says that actually there are 5 factors of every action. Adhishthana data karta karanam cha pritakvidam vividashcha pratakcheshta devam cha patra panchamam. And that there is a soul, there is a body, there are senses, there are different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the Supreme Lord Himself. And if one thinks that he is the doer, he is in illusion, because there are many factors that should be considered. Even, for example, if one is rich and has all the food he wants at disposal, the best possible foods, but if he's diseased, he cannot even have a spoonful of food. Yes, even if he wants to eat, he cannot. Or if he's, I don't know, handicapped, he cannot even stand up. Yes, maybe he has powerful body, but something happens and he's paralyzed. And although he may desire, he's unable to even stand up. Yes. So we can see that we are not independent doers. We depend on so many factors, and we should consider this. And most prominent factor is Lord's will. Yes. And then he explains that these modes of nature influence everything in this world. Everything. And that there is different knowledge under different modes, different activities, and different performers of activities are all influenced by these different modes. And the knowledge under the mode of goodness is that we can see that there is one absolute reality, and that in every living entity is the same spiritual substance. So in animals and human beings, we are all brothers and sisters. We are the same spiritual reality. Yes, of the same spirit. There is no difference on spiritual level. There are differences on bodily level, but one in the mode of goodness sees beyond bodily differences. And then those who are in the mode of passion, they see these different differences. Yes. And those who are in the mode of of ignorance, they can't see anything. They think that just what they do is the best, and whatever anyone else does is just wasting time. Have you met anyone like this in your life? That thinking that whatever anyone else does is useless. I'm coming from Slovenia, and Slovenia was a communistic country 30 years ago, and more. And there was a common belief amongst the working class that only they are working something, that these directors and so on in companies, they don't do anything, they just go to different meetings and that's it. But they really don't do anything. But this, of course, is ridiculous. If there would be no leadership, there would be no work for these ordinary workers, for ordinary working class, of course. So they think that whatever I do is valuable and whatever someone else does is useless. And then Krishna explains yes, that if we perform our work according to Shastra, or the Holy Scriptures, without attachment to the result, and with great enthusiasm, we are acting in a mode of goodness. Yes. Without attachment and without false ego also. False ego means I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a young man, I'm a old man, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm Hare Krishna, I'm this, I'm that. I'm black, I'm white, I'm Indian, I'm Swedish, I'm Slovenian, I'm doctor, I'm a street sweeper, I'm this, I'm that. These are all ahankara, false identification, false ego, and has nothing to do with our real existence, which is so completely connected with the Lord. So we should see our connection with the Lord and engage in our eternal activities as a servant of the Supreme. Yes. And those who are in passion, they strive very hard to achieve some results, to achieve some goals, to achieve some pleasure in this world. Yes. And they are envious and competitive very much. And impure. This is explained. And then those in the mode of ignorance, they're always morose and expert in insulting others. Yes. And they procrastinate everything they do. That means and Prabhupada explains, whatever can be done in 1 hour, they do it. They don't do it for years and years. Yes. Hare Krishna. This is the mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance. Yes, and They were always complaining. And they're in bad mood. Yes. And then he explains that there are different stages of consciousness, of intelligence actually, buddhi. And he says that those who know what is right and what is wrong, what we have to do and what what it's not proper to do, pravritincha navritincha, karya karye bhaya bhaye, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. Bandham moksham chaya vidhi. What is binding us and what is liberating us, those have intelligence in goodness. And then it's very interesting, I'm mentioning this more specifically because we live in such a world. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam eva cha ayatavat prajanati buddhik sapartha rajasi. And the intelligence in passion is that one doesn't know what is dharma and what is not dharma. Yes, what is right and what is not, and what one should do and what one shouldn't do. People don't know this, and we can see in modern world they don't care for the scriptures, and scriptures are of course there to make our life happy, not to make our life complicated or miserable. Yes, people think like this, that scriptures are just to make our life miserable. Which is craziness, of course. And those who are in ignorance, they think that what is proper is wrong. And what is wrong is proper. Yes. And they're very convinced about this. Yes. And we can see in modern world, this is very prominent. Yes. Hare Krishna. And then he is speaking about different determination, also different determination. If one is fixed in his discipline and in yoga, in meditation, and he performs his work with enthusiasm, but without attachment, he's in goodness. Those who are very much attached to different rituals, just for the ritual's sake, and so on, and to different results, they're in passion. And those who are always just depressed, they want to sleep endlessly, and they're lamenting all the time something. Their determination is in the mode of ignorance. Yes, of ignorance. And there are three kinds of happiness also, and this is very important to understand. Yes. And it is said, Yatadagre vishameva pariname mritupamam tatsukam satvikam pruktam atma buddhi prasadajam. That the happiness in goodness looks like poison at the beginning, and it's nectar at the end, and awakens one to spiritual understanding. Yes. Why it's poison at the beginning? What do you think? It's a little hard. Sorry? It's a little hard to do. Yes, it's a little hard to do. Takes some discipline, some following of Shastra, of scripture injunction, and looks like that these things are limiting me. Yes, and this looks like poison for me, but it's nectar at the end. Yes, one who is very disciplined. There is one marathon runner. I run marathons, therefore I know. Maybe you have heard about him. He's a Kenyan runner, Kipchoge. Have anyone heard about Kipchoge? Yes, he's a marathon runner. He's the first person who ran a marathon under 2 hours. That means faster than 21 kilometers per hour running. Extremely fast, unbelievably. And he says that only disciplined ones are free. Everyone else is a slave to his passions. And it's the same in Bhagavad-gītā explains, yes. And then the happiness in passion is looks like nectar at the beginning, but it's poison at the end. And our greatest poet in Slovenia, I don't believe you have heard about him, so I will not mention the name. He wrote I believe he studied Bhagavad-gītā, because he wrote something very similar to this verse. He says that he hankered for some sweet things. His heart was hankering for something sweet, but it turned out to be poison. After some time, everything that he hankered to be sweet just turned out to be poison. Yes, completely echoes this verse from Bhagavad-gītā. Yes, and the happiness in ignorance is just suffering all the time. Actually, yes, and bondage from beginning to end. And then he explains that there are different, because of these different modes, there are different natures of living entities. One who are more in the mode of goodness are brahmanas, and there are that means those who have spiritual knowledge and spiritual insight. And then there are kshatriyas, or leaders of society and warriors. And then are vaishyas and shudras, and all have different work to do. And although they are under different modes, they all can achieve perfection if they dedicate their work to Krishna, to the Lord, for His pleasure. And then he explains that one should perform his work according to his nature. Otherwise we'll be just miserable and we'll destroy the whole society if we don't perform our work according to our nature. So it's very important to do something according to our nature. Yes. And even if we do it imperfectly, because he said that every endeavor is covered by some faults. Like fire is covered by smoke. Every fire is covered by smoke. So every endeavor is covered by some faults. But we shouldn't give up our prescribed duties, and we'll be perfectly happy if we do it for the Lord's pleasure, as an offering to the Lord. This is the secret. This is the secret. Yes. And then he explains how to achieve perfection through jnana. So it's very difficult path to attain all these good qualities, to be completely detached from this world and not engage with anything. But this is not practical. Practical is bhakti. Bhakti means the path of loving devotion, because we all want to love. No one can be happy without love. And if our love is limited, our happiness is also limited. So our love should be unlimited, and this is possible only if we develop love for the Lord, who is unlimited, who is absolute. So yes, Lord teaches us to develop love, absolute love for Him. And He teaches that we should just depend on Him with whatever we perform. And He will be very merciful to us, and He will help us to progress. But if we want to act according to our whims, according to our false identifications, then we'll be forced by our nature to engage in material activities and just suffer. Yes. But if we surrender to Krishna, He will protect us. And therefore He says, Manamana bhava mat bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mama veshasi satyanti pratijane priyosime. Become my devotee, always think of me. Yes. Offer homage unto me and worship me. And thus you will definitely attain me. Yes. And sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Just abandon all kinds of religion and just surrender to me. I will protect you from all sins. Don't worry. Yes. And this is the message of Bhagavad-gītā. Mashucha, don't worry. And from the beginning, when He says, Ashochan amvashochastvan, and here He says, Mashucha, is the same message. Don't be depressed. Don't worry. Be happy. Be happy. And this is the science. This Bhagavad-gītā is the science of how to be happy. Because it is explained in different shastra and different scriptures that people want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy, but they get just misery. Although their firm conviction is, yes, I will achieve happiness and I will get rid of all misery. This is firm determination of every living entity. But what they get is just misery. Yes. So the science, how to go beyond this, is to surrender to the Lord completely, all our heart. And this is explained in this 18th chapter. And this is the most secret knowledge. This is the most secret knowledge. To just surrender. So what this practically looks like, when we get up in the morning, even before we get up from the bed, we just turn to the Lord and say to the Lord, let this day be yours. I offer my heart to you completely. Please accept me. And then, whenever we want to eat something, just offer it to the Lord. Oh my Lord, please accept this food for your pleasure. And then we can eat. So if we remember the Lord like this all the time, and when we go to work or to study or anything like this, we can say, let it be for your pleasure. And if we perform throughout the day like this, then we will be connected to the Lord all the time. And the most easy way to always remember the Lord, because this is the process to always remember the Lord, is chanting of His holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes. But the Lord, we should know, He is not a dictator. He explained Bhagavad-gītā to Arjuna, and then he said to him, Iti te jnanam guhyat guhyatarmaya vimrishityata sheshana yata chasita takuru. Now I have explained to you this most confidential knowledge. Think about it and decide what you want to do. So He gives us complete freedom. We should know that the soul or the spirit is completely free. So we can do whatever we want. But we have to also take the consequences of our decision. This is important to understand. So we are also responsible for what is happening to us. Yes. And Krishna is teaching how to become perfectly happy. Hare Krishna. Is there any question or comment? This was more summary than previous chapters. Everything clear? Yes, please.
So there are general guidelines given in Shastra for how to conduct ourselves in this world, achieve different outcomes. But many times life isn't so simple. Sometimes you're faced with what appears to be, stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Sorry?
Being stuck between a rock and a hard place, where it's like either way I go here, it's I'm gonna end up losing. It seems impossible to follow the rules or follow established dharma in this situation. So what to do in such a situation?
Yes, very good question. Thank you. Actually, Arjuna found himself in such a position. If I fight and I win the war, I will kill everyone that I love. And I want the kingdom just for them. So what's the use of fighting? And if I don't fight, I will not follow Shastra, because I'm a warrior. So he was in such a predicament. And he took shelter of Krishna. So, and he said, Karpanya dosho bhakata svabhavaha prichamitvan dharma samudachita. Ershayasam nishitam bruhita me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanam. I'm confused what to do and what not to do. Please instruct me. I'm now surrendered soul to you. Yes. Please tell me what is beneficial to do. And this is the solution. Krishna is teaching Arjuna, Tadvidi pranipatana pariprashnena sivaya upadikshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshana. That we are perplexed in this world, and it's natural because we are influenced by material nature, which is duratyaya, impossible to overcome. So we have to seek guidance by those who have seen the truth. Yes. Upadikshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshana. Of one who is tattvadarshi, of one who has seen the truth, we should seek guidance from such people, because it is said that birds of the same feather flock together. So we should seek association of enlightened persons, of those who are striving for spiritual perfection at least, and seek their advice and guidance. And then we will be able to overcome our perplexions in our life. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Please extend my humble wishes.